Ladies and gentlemen, Jeffery Patterson and the Theater of the Mind.
My side of town, knives are sharp, cars are fast, and the hits are lethal. I just stepped out of a bar standing here on the street corner, checking to see if my knuckle scab had been knocked a little loose from a little entertainment within. Well, I heard the clicking of heels coming down the sidewalk. Well, I looked over to see it. Saw a pair of legs that were going to the moon. They stopped when they got to her face. Now, she had the kind of face to turn the rest of this little world into a cheap backdrop. She walked by. I wanted to say something, but my mind had, I don't know, basic similarities to a blimp hanger, you know? But it did put a huge strain of the saliva being pumped into my mouth. She hadn't even got down a block until three guys came out of a cafe. They talked dirty. She got scared. One fat boy with a toothpick grabbed her dress. The other one touched her hair. I intervened. The guy with the toothpick lost the toothpick along with 6 of his teeth. The guy that touched her dress, well, he folded up like a cheap lawn chair. I'm not going to talk about the other one. She bawled me out for about 10 minutes about testosterone level and wanting to fight on the streets and leave her alone, and she left. I looked down and noticed I'd popped the scab on my knuckle. About a year later, I was up in D.C., standing on a street corner waiting on the light to change. Looked over a little Mercedes. There she was. All of a sudden, this limo slammed her in the back. Don't ask me to expand on that any further. 4 government-type gentlemen get out and start harassing her. You know how some of these government types can be, trying to take advantage of someone that won't protest. Well, one touched her hair, the other grabbed her arm. I intervened. One of them have to get some new political posters made up. He looks a little different. The other one's going to have to go back to his dentist. The other 2 started running for their office. And I don't mean as candidates. I mean as bunny rabbits with like yellow stripes down their back. She started bawling me out about fighting in the street, following her and stay away, and she got in her little Mercedes and drove away. About a year and a half later, I had a first-class ticket to Thailand. We'd just taken off. Here came a beautiful woman walking down the aisle. It was her. She didn't notice me, but I did turn to watch her walk down the aisle. When I did, there was 3 men and a woman standing there with automatic rifles. They started screaming something about, "This is for our people," and something about a spotted owl. I don't know. I'd heard about terrorists, but I'd never seen any. I think they're primarily bored people who need a hobby, like model airplanes or something. But I was just about to tell them that when one of them knocked the girl down with his AK-47 onto the lap of a fat vegetarian. When I said, "Okay, that's it," I intervened. I gave one guy an elbow between the eyes so hard his head popped back, who hit the guy behind him, who hit the guy behind him, and so on down. And they laid there in the aisle. I think they were out cold. I didn't know, didn't care. I walked across their faces just to be sure. When we taxied back, she started bawling me out about how, these people are just trying to make things better for where they live, and testosterone level and wanting to fight, and stormed off the plane. I had a good time in Thailand. A couple of weeks later, I was on my way to Beijing. I had a first-class ticket. We all seated, taxiing out to the runway. Captain came on the intercom and said we had to go back for just a moment. We taxi back, door opens. It was her. She walked into first class, had a seat. I slipped my hand down in my pocket, put on my brass knuckles, and waited for the trouble to begin.